Hi Kaiser families, this is Brian Painter. Thank you for watching. As we move into May, we understandably get excited about the end of the year activities. We start thinking about summer and we even wonder what lies ahead in the fall. There are a number of changes in the works at Kaiser due to staffing adjustments and to our pending construction. And I hope to do my best to keep you informed and up to date as much as possible. These video clips are the first step in this process. I'm hoping that these informal chats, where you can essentially hear my thoughts and see some visuals, will help us as we move ahead with what basically is ahead in our future. These will likely be the first of many communications you'll receive about next year, as there are frankly many things related to construction that are yet to be finalized. Today's clips will focus on two things. Our first one will look at how we plan to use the building next year, given construction-related space constraints. The second clip, which I hope you'll watch, will focus on who will be working with our students next year after several retirements, a leave of absence, and a handful of new hires. Thanks to the community support of Proposition 1, Kaiser will be one of 5 campuses to see significant improvements over the next 12 to 18 months. Construction will begin at Kaiser on Wednesday, June 1st, starting with the demolition of our north wing and what are currently our first grade classrooms. In front of you, you'll see this is the artist's rendition of what our building is going to look like when all is said and done. I happen to think it looks fantastic. I can't wait. In front of you here, you see essentially our building map as it sits right now. You'll notice, however, that the first grade classrooms, 2 right here and 2 right here, are shown as gone, basically, because next year they will be gone as there will be construction happening along this side and this side of our building. For the 2010-2011 current school year, so right now, we needed 19 rooms for 20 sections of kindergarten through 5th grade, as morning and afternoon kindergarten used the same space. Due to enrollment bumps for next year, we are slated to have 21 classes, including AM and PM kindergarten, and will thus need 20 rooms just for these classes. You can see our grade level sections right here. Additional spaces are going to be needed for the varied specials and support services that are vital to our school success. Needing the additional space, going up one section as a school, obviously becomes even more complicated because we're losing those 4 classrooms due to demolition and will not have newly constructed rooms ready for use until August of 2012. Members of our facility team, we have a large group of staff members who got together in February to explore the options for next year. Essentially, in the next few slides, I hope to show you basically the thinking that we went through and talk about how we solved our problems and how we plan to look at next year. In front of you, you'll see our building map that we have for next year, with the spaces marked that have been used as kindergarten through 5th grade classrooms currently or in the past. You'll notice there's only 17, and we are going to need 20 next year. We've added now the specials, PE, music, and art. And then these 3 spaces right here had some sort of issues. The rooms themselves are large enough to hold class, for us to put students in class and teachers in there for an entire year. However, they had either noise issues possibly, or in most cases, natural light and window issues. This space, if I can get it right here, number 8, this space right here is going to be right next to the construction zone. That is the 2nd grade class currently used by Ms. McCarthy. That is a viable space, and of course it's going to be safe, but it's going to be also quite loud, we would imagine. And so we opted to not put a class. We didn't want any students or teachers to be in there all day long, all year long. This space right here is next to the music room. It's sort of a cave in many ways. There are windows, but not many, and it sits much below ground. And then this space right across the hall from it is currently our teacher workroom and lounge. As you can tell, there's no windows whatsoever for that room because it's completely on the inside of the building. We just didn't feel great unless we had to putting students in those rooms. We did also look at the larger spaces we have. This is currently our library and our lab. And then, of course, this is a classroom that Ms. McCoy has in 3rd grade right now, which is a large classroom. and then our music room and our art room. We looked at all of the spaces we had available to us, and we really had to answer some difficult questions. The variables we had to consider: did we want kindergarten to be at Kaiser? What did we want to do with kindergarten? Did we want all, some, or none of these students to be at Kaiser next year? Are we willing to double classes for a year to maximize the use of our larger spaces, the ones I showed in green a moment ago? Would we use, how are we going to use those spaces, or will we use those spaces that are less conducive to learning because they are near the construction zone or they have few windows and no natural light? Can we go a year without a library or with a smaller version? And basically we asked the same question about our technology lab. And then finally, did we want to go, as unfortunately some schools have to do, to art on a cart or music on a cart, where Miss Lang and Miss St. Clair would basically be traveling teachers who would go around the building teaching basically in 5 or 6 classes a day. These were all very difficult questions that we had to explore. Here you'll see that we did come up with some answers. The team unanimously agreed to keep kindergarten at Kaiser and make necessary sacrifices with space for the 1 year that will be under major construction. All possible spaces were explored for classrooms with the focus, again, on square footage, natural light, and location within the building. The most significant changes that we have for next year: given the size of our computer lab right here and our library right here, we've opted to put 2 classes in each of these spaces for the coming year. Such an arrangement is not ideal in normal circumstances, but we feel it will be very workable with teachers who have complementary teaching styles and who want to work together. The 2 rooms across from the current library, right here, if I can get the slide right here, will also be used for K-5 classrooms next year. This year they were used for literacy and special education. Room 103 right here next to the demolition area will not be demolished, but will be on the edge of the construction zone, as mentioned. We decided we didn't want any students in the space all day long, so we are going to shift that space into a mini library until our newly renovated Library Media Center is ready for use. This library space will be too crowded for instruction, but we do expect, believe it or not, roughly 80% of our book collection to fit in this room for checkout purposes. Our current teacher workroom right here is going to, and lounge will be temporarily reorganized as a mini lab for computer use. We will again be tight in this space, but we feel it's better to have a smallish lab than not have one at all. Then many of our instructional specialists and special educators will unfortunately be sharing spaces around the building, spending large portions of their days pushing in to provide services in classrooms. Again, this will not be ideal, but I have really appreciated their positive attitude and their willingness to make this work for a year. In our next clip, we're going to talk about who's going to be in these classrooms and who's going to be on our staff next year. We hope you'll join us for that. Thank you.